Okay, we're looking at figure 7.2 on page 145 of your textbook. So this section has everything to do with revealed preference methods. And what that basically means is that there are environmental entities that has a price in the market. Let's say, for example, apples is something produced in nature. We buy it every day in stores, so we know more or less what the value of an apple is. It varies more or less, but there's a price to it. However, there are a wide range of other environmental products that don't have a price, although it does have a value. For instance, clean air. We breathe clean air every day. Every couple of seconds, you take a breath in and a breath out. It's vital to life. It's very valuable to us all, but we don't pay anything for it. It doesn't have a price on the market. You don't get a bill at the end of the month saying you owe the government, 1,000 rand for all the air you used in this month. So it's free in the market. It doesn't have a price, but it does have a value. And revealed preference methods try to calculate the value of those entities in other ways. For instance, we looked at averting costs. That says how much do I pay to not be confronted by, let's say, something like polluted air. Let's use that as example. I might put filters in my house that cleans the air in my house, which is very expensive. So the filter is a way that I try to avoid polluted air, and we can use the cost of those filters as a type of a indication of my value for clean air. So that's one method. It's called averting costs. There's other methods as well, like wage rates. Maybe there's a city that's very polluted, but you get a good job there for a good salary. And the same job in a clean city would give you a lower salary. If you want to take the job in the city with the cleaner air, that shows your willingness to pay for clean air, the change in your salary. That's one example. Salary wage rates can measure a broad range of other stuff as well. Now, today we're going to have a look at house prices. Now, what this basically says, if there are two houses, in this case, one house is in a very clean neighborhood, so let's make the air in this neighborhood nice and blue. The other house is in a dirty neighborhood, so let's make the cloud over here very black. Okay, so the difference in the prices of the houses will be an indication of the value of clean air. If this house is 1 million and this house is 500,000 and all the other stuff is the same, so the amount of rooms, the yard size is the same, the square meters, the size of the house is the same, everything else is the same. The only difference is the one is in a clean air environment and the other one is in a polluted environment. Then we can say the difference in the price shows how much we value clean air. So let's have a look at exactly this example on a graph. Now on the y-axis I'm going to write house prices. Show the origin of little zero, and then on the x-axis I'm going to write sulfur dioxide, SO2, or you can just write pollution. Actually, I would rather that you just write pollution because I don't want you to get hung up on technical things like SO2. The point is SO2 is a substance that is not, that pollutes the air, so it's kind of a pollution agent, let's call it something like that. Okay, Now, when pollution is really, really low, so let's say there's no pollution. I don't think that there's such a place, but let's say there's no pollution, then the house prices will be really high. For exactly the same type of house in an area with a lot of pollution, so let's say pollution high, house prices will be fairly low. So house prices are there. Let's say the same house in a house with the same characteristics in an area of medium pollution would have a house that has a price of something like this. So that's what the graph tries to show. It tries to show the relationship between house prices and pollution. It doesn't go all the way down because no house is absolutely free. You won't get a house of 0, but you will just get a very cheap house. Now, if you look at, let's say we buy a house in a neighborhood with medium pollution. The price of this house was B1. And then all of a sudden, maybe I got more money and I could afford a house in a cleaner environment. I bought a house in, let's call this low medium pollution. Then the house price is B2. Now, what this graph says is I value this amount of clean air. Sorry, no, that's not right. Let me start again. I value this amount of clean air this much. Meaning my value for clean air, for this amount of clean air, X, is the price B2 minus B1. So now I just put a value, a dollar sign or a rand value to clean air. That's something that didn't exist before I used this method, and that's why it's one with a revealed preference method to get the value of clean air.